Welcome, affiliated listeners, to another episode of the Affiliate Podcast. But remember, this is our special episode because today is Pillow Talk.
Pillow Talk.
Pillow. We'll work on synchronizing.
two of them.
Two pillows.
Two pillows.
For the second episode.
Yeah.
I just have one because my arms aren't long enough for two. So
No,
I can only hug tiny people. Sorry, all you big people out there, no Kyle hugs. But
Is that why you don't hug me?
yes, that's exactly why. If it's a physical limitation, you'll not ask anymore, right? So that's
No, I'll keep asking.
Sure. Damn. Okay. You're gonna bring me arm extenders or something like that. So less on arm extenders and more on the joys of pillow talk. But today we are going to be discussing. I think one of the big things that you guys should all be thinking about right now as we enter the last quarter of the year, and Thomas and I are thinking about, is what are we going to do next year? What are we going to do? What are we going to do?
I want to go to Tahiti.
Tahiti or tea? Just go dish some tea. Whatever. But in reality, these are the times that we set up for a great year in 2025. Especially, I think it's important now because I think there's a lot of people that had a mixed 2024.
It's a weird year.
Yeah, it's been a bit different, right? And there's a lot of factors going on. There's a lot of things.
I feel like it's like the
going on.
hangover year after the COVID rally. Yeah,
A little bit.
Yeah.
It does. It kind of feels like it's like your junior year of college. You're like, I can't keep doing this. And I might need to be an adult, which I think is a great time to talk about planning, right?
Hey.
So, as boring as the word planning sounds to people that aren't sociopaths, we are going to be talking about exciting planning, which is what are the things that you should be thinking about, planning for, and starting putting in your head to make sure you have that great 2025. So this is built from the trends and things that we're seeing right now, as well as general experience over our collective years of seeing business owners and watching people be very successful in the things that they focus on. So with that, let's kind of jump into it and talk a little about Thomas. And I think some of the big things, well, let's actually I'll turn it over to you. What's one of the big things that you think people should be focusing on starting into 2025?
I think it's really dialing in what you've got now and really getting clarity on where you want to be, kind of not even just the end of next year, but in the next 3 years.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, where do you actually want to be? Where's the business going? And then what do you have to be doing right now? And then the next month and the next quarter and the next 6 months for you to be on track to that.
No, I think it's great. I think a big piece, the first piece of planning is clarity for sure. So I know for those that hate executive speak or corporate talk, but things like OKRs, this is the time that you start setting what that's going to be, what the vision is going to be, and executing.
I think that's, because we work with so many solopreneurs, right? Or even just small companies as far as employee count goes. And it's very easy to get lost in the shuffle of just what's going on now.
Yeah.
You kind of lose track of the bigger picture of why you even started this journey in the first place, whether it was a year ago or 10 years ago. It's kind of like, wait, where am I?
Yeah.
That moment to pick up and look ahead and just kind of go, okay, what are we actually executing towards, not just doing because it's in front of me.
Yeah, because I think, oftentimes it's a good way to end up being a leaf in a river. If that river heads towards a waterfall, you're just going to go off.
Could be a lot of fun. Right?
Yeah, it could be for a bit, right?
It could also be terrifying.
Yeah. It's just the whole idea is it's not intentional and you have no control over what happens. So I think today, and really what we want to talk about is essentially how to get that clarity and not let yourself just be a victim of the flow of the river. So that being said, we're not going to talk about how to do your planning. Maybe we could do that in a different episode. And I think there's some cool resources out there on how to do OKRs, where it might be, goal setting. Well, we really want to focus on the things that we're seeing and things we think are common that people should be focusing on. So you might not focus on all of these, but one of the listeners out there will say, yes, this is what I need to hear, and we will give you that information. Because remember, it's Pillow Talk. We get to say what we want, when we want. So I'll actually take one of the first things that I think commonly comes around this time of year. And particularly because I think it's coming with some different language than you've had in the years past. But I think staffing, right? Who could be the next person in business? So if you're a solopreneur, oftentimes you might look back and think, oh, well, this were good parts of the year, but here's the bad parts. I feel like I'm missing something or somebody on my team, whether it's an EA, a VA, whether it's a media buyer, a copywriter, a operator. There's lots of different people that you could potentially need to hire. And as you go through that clarity of the role, you might find that's what you're missing. But I think right now it's a weird time to do hiring. There's a global market. There's a lot of opportunities to go all over the place with virtual aids. But at the same time, hiring can be very expensive. If it's your first hire, even a fourth, fifth hire, it comes with a lot of cost.
We know a lot of people too that tried hiring as well. Well, that didn't work
because
they didn't really know how to hire or who to hire or how to manage once they did hire somebody. So
exactly.
It's a big shift for someone.
Yeah.
To even develop that skill, kind of like get used to that.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And so it's like, how do you do that? What are the
Yeah.
things you should look for, and how can you define success in hiring? Especially given, like I said, you might be in a situation where you need to hire because you might have lost an employee, or you might need to be hiring at a lower salary range because if things have changed economically in your business, margins have shrunk. We've seen a lot of companies have seen their margins decrease, which means now your operating capital is lower, and maybe that hire you had to get rid of because you couldn't afford them, but you really need what they did, right? So how do you find these alternative options? And oftentimes, less pay just means less quality, right? Like
that is the funny part, because I see people make two kind of mistakes when they think about hiring. It's like, here's all the low level tasks I don't want to do, and they go hire either multiple people to kind of take care of a bunch of low level tasks, but then they end up managing people for those low level tasks, and they get frustrated with that whole process. Instead of looking at it going, what are like the bigger tasks that I don't like doing, the more important tasks in my business that I don't like doing, and maybe spending a little more money or getting those things off your plate that free up a lot more mental energy and time for you to do the things you're actually good at.
Yeah.
Or then maybe it's less you need to go hire for the specific task. Maybe you need to hire someone to do the hiring.
Yeah,
it's like
legit. Well, great. You transitioned to two things that I was going to go to. But the first, you're 100% right. The biggest thing is I think oftentimes we hire for pain, not for success. And you hit that nail on the head. Oh, I hate doing this task, so I'll just hire it out. That's a piece of it. But more importantly, shift to what do I do best and how can I do more of that all the time? And what's the number one barrier or position I need to fill? And you're right, that might be something that could be filled with an EA, but you probably maybe want a more expensive EA if it's a very critical thing that you're doing. Or maybe it could be something you do have to spend a lot more money for, but you know and understand what it's going to get you, such as an operator, which is definitely a big and critical role oftentimes for entrepreneurs, is getting somebody that basically turns you into a business owner versus just a wildly person doing whatever you can on the internet.
It's like it was in the last Pillow Talk, right? Marketers are usually terrible operators.
Yes. Very rarely are they both at the same time. So I think some of the best marketers realize they're not operators and know how to identify operators.
Yes.
But it's a huge piece. And we could see that I'd say if you saw success and it feels like your business is crumbling, you probably don't have an operator in your business. And that's exactly why, where it feels like more money.
Or stagnation too is a sign,
as
right?
well.
Like,
Yeah.
hey, I've hit this level and I can't figure out how to get past it now.
Yeah.
Right?
Stagnation is because it's an efficiency issue normally.
Yeah.
It's somebody that can make your business operate with SOPs, with intent, with all that stuff. So how do you get that? I think one of the big things is oftentimes it's really challenging to hire yourself if you don't have experience doing it. And then we take a failure as like, oh, well, I just don't need that position. When in reality, that's not it. It's probably just you failed at being a HR person. So I think a couple things is definitely look towards valuable recruiters or individuals that you could leverage finding that talent, whether it's trusted people from a networking group, or I think more importantly, really legit somebody that knows how to hire people, what to look for, and going out of recruiting service. One I'll actually mention on the call, it's Michelle. Oh my gosh, why am I forgetting her last name? Bella Job Board. Holy crap, it's not Madsen. I'm going to look this up in a second to get her name, but she does a fantastic job placing online entrepreneurs and with high valued positions. Yeah. So an operator, director of marketing, where it might be, but really, really fantastic talent. So I'll make sure to remember her name or throw it in the show notes, but she does a great job with locating that and high quality talent, understanding, giving you multiple people to interview so that screening process is less burden for you. We'll get to that. Still on you to do the rest well, but we'll come to that in a second. And I think the other one that's big is, there's a ton of really valuable talent across the globe that's at amazing rates. So finding some places that could find you the right talent, because where the prices could be low, the quality is wide, right? From excellent to atrocious. And atrocious means bad performance, tons of training, all sorts of problems. And that's where you say, I don't want to hire. But if you get the right people with the right service that could place those individuals for you, you're set up for a lot more success. Yeah. So I think that's a big piece for sure. And I know Sphere Rocket's one I met recently that does a great job with that. And we could definitely go through, and we'll put some other ones in the show notes of this. That would be a really good idea if you're looking for more of that VA international talent.
Yeah. I'd say too, just if you see a company like yours that's scaling, I would just ask them, right? Mm-hmm. Hey, how did you hire for your scale? right? And sometimes they're going to be like, I don't know, my hair's on fire. And other times they're going to be like, oh yeah, well, I needed this person. They came in. This is how I found them. And start asking your peers in the space and like kind of how they've managed this process. So often we get stuck on the, how did you have a marketing breakthrough? But really the breakthrough came on the back end and behind the scenes.
Yep.
And that led to a marketing breakthrough. So it's like really asking those more pertinent questions to your actual need, not just your want of sales.
Yeah, for sure. I love that. So getting the pertinent, the right level of what you really want, which goes to the next thing, that be good at not only interviewing, but the other side, be prepared to handle that person. Like in terms of resources for training, knowing exactly what you're going to do, and with metrics or KPIs that are going to allow you to unbiasedly measure their performance. Very key things. If those don't exist, there's a good chance that you could have a bad hire and not even know it for a long time, or know how to correct it, right? If those things are missing. So we won't go into how to do all that stuff. Just make sure they're there. One other plug that I'd say that's a really great area to sometimes find fantastic talent is go to universities. Get young graduated students that are most likely going to be very disenchanted with the employment market out there. It's a common trend with Gen Zers that they just don't try at their jobs because they feel like their jobs are pointless. So find the people that want a job that feels like it matters and teaches them something. With entrepreneurship, they're very close to everything in there. They're not some corporate drone, counting beans at the bottom of the totem pole. They don't like that, right? So you have a great opportunity to get a hungry, intelligent person that probably would accept lower pay than they should based on their skill set because they don't have the work experience.
Yes, excellent.
And you'll get someone really hungry to just grow with you and present possibly even a much better job alternative than they would have elsewhere. So with that, that's our job or selection thing. What's another important focus you think people should have?
We kind of had a lull this year in travel where there was like a couple events for the summer, but it was like almost bookended with a lot of events in like Q1 and 2 or first half of Q2, and then a lot of events like kind of right now in Q3 popping off. So a lot of people that are listening are probably traveling to some of these events or just got back from Affiliate World, Europe, but we've got a lot more coming up. So it's like if you have that clarity of what you're actually looking for, it's going to these events with intention. But then actually, if you're not going to any, thinking about, okay, maybe I should go so I can either network and get what I need, whether it's traffic or whether it's operations, and kind of help kick off January and the rest of next year in a stronger way.
Yeah.
Because often if you're just going internal and just going, okay, I'm just going to focus on what I need to do right now, you might get a lot done, but you might be able to supercharge your efforts if you go to one or two of these events that are coming up. So I'd be curious. I know you've got quite a few events coming up.
Yeah, for sure. So, and I, by the way, couldn't agree with you more. And I think the big part is that intention and clarity. So you don't just travel to travel, but you travel with exactly what you do. And so I just got back from a 4 rooms intensive, which is great. And there's the national event going, or the annual event, not national event.
Yeah, it's in November in Orlando.
Yeah, November in Orlando.
Yeah, that's Amber Spears' event, 4 rooms. I think if you Google 4 rooms Orlando, you'll probably find the lander for it. Yeah.
And one thing I think for any business owners out there, that if you feel, I think that stagnant, stuck is a really, really good process. If you feel like you can't quite understand what the next step is, I would tell you 4 rooms is a fantastic mastermind for you to go to. They're going to take care of you really well. You would be hard-pressed not to leave feeling like a more mature, knowledgeable business owner. And I say business owner because I think that's a kind of event and mastermind that could take you from entrepreneur to business owner, or solopreneur to like real business owner.
And if you're like, what does that mean? You might want to go.
Yeah, exactly. I'd say that'd be an event for you. But great timing for something like that. But then I also have Jordan Hall's Profit Multiplier coming up.
Yeah.
And this is super exciting. I'm really, really excited for this event. That's just next week in Austin. And I don't know I think it might be sold out, but one of the really exciting things about this is it's all focused on found money in your business, how to increase efficiencies, increase profitability, and should be really amazing. The panel and the people you have speaking on there is just wild, really cool stuff.
I love that topic too, because I think it's one of the fun parts I have of jumping on a call with somebody, and you kind of get to know their business. Like, oh, are you doing X? And they're like, no. Why not? I didn't know I could. It's like, oh, well, turn that on. It'll probably have a money lever coming in you didn't even realize. So
yeah. Well, and especially we talk about right now, there's a lot of good businesses that are either they've seen contraction or stagnation. It's a perfect time to just be more efficient.
Yeah.
So that one should be exciting. I'm excited too because I'm speaking that one. So I'll be talking about creative deal making, which is going to be really fun. And then the other event that I have at the end of this month is Smart Marketer with Ezra Firestone and Molly Pittman, which is going to be super exciting. I think just for a different group of people
in Denver,
to talk
right?
to. Yeah, it's in Denver. And it's a very easy flight, which I like a lot.
Direct
So
flights from
shorter
Boise,
flights. Yeah.
Easy, yes. That one looks cool.
What about you? What events do you have going on?
Well, we've got Kyle and Alan. They're down in Brazil. They're flying to Brazil right now, so they're doing a dinner down there. It's supposed to be a small dinner, but I think we're having like 70 people there. Ship offers
Like
and
kind of
sales
small
bound
dinners,
is
right?
helping that get established and stuff there. So Brazil looks interesting for us to keep growing into. Then Platinum Summit's in a few weeks for us, which is our biggest event that we truly own, kind of thing, down in Cancun there. So. I'm excited to kind of see. That'll be my first trip since the baby was born. So,
Oh my goodness,
it's
yeah.
been almost a year since I've traveled. So,
Do you remember what airports look like?
I guess we traveled with the baby once. So
Oh,
I think
okay,
I'll be able to get
okay.
through. But I did realize my
Such a
global
liar,
global
Thomas.
entry expired.
Oh no!
I'm like, oh no, this is gonna suck coming back. But
It is. Oh, that is going to
Yeah.
suck. I'm sorry. Well, hopefully you could just get a renewal on your way back scheduled.
yeah, that's a good point. I'll try to do that. And then what else we got? We got Affiliate World Asia in
yes.
December over in Bangkok. So we got a roadshow going over there. We haven't put out the link for RSVPing to our party out there yet, but if you're interested, you can always go to clickbank.com/events, and anything we're doing like Platinum Summit or the road shows or the networking events we put on or ClickBank Connects here in Boise, there's links over on that page.
Well, and I'll just do a quick shout out to that one. That's probably one of the last big affiliate
Yeah.
conferences of the year. So if you're really looking to do, we go to Clarity Intent and your intent's like, I need more affiliates.
That's a great one. Yeah.
Perfect, especially if you're looking for Q1 to have a big launch. If you have a contest or a product that's proven, go hang out in Thailand.
I always love their
Have a good
ads
time.
for it too. They're like, "Do you need to spend money for taxes? go
go.
to Bangkok."
you go.
Yeah, and then Webinar Con is in November. I don't know if we'll be going to that one, but it's a good one to shout out if you're doing any high ticket webinar sales. There's really not a better room you could be in than Webinar Con.
Yeah, it is a fantastic conference for sure,
Yeah.
and very, very high level. That's a great one.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's a lot more different masterminds we're not going to mention, or just don't know about. But yeah, I just say if you know where you're going in 2025, get on the road, talk to people, network, and start dialing it in.
Yeah, and we have seen over time there's a direct correlation to traveling in Q4 and having success in Q1 of the following year. So just putting it out there that not to force travel into your planning, but maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe just a little bit.
Yeah, and then I guess we've got Affiliate Summit is going to be, is that in January or February?
January.
January, yeah. So Affiliate Summit in Vegas, Affiliate Summit West, right? Yeah.
Yes.
That'll be kicking off, and we're kind of back into kind of the cycle, because then Dubai will be shortly after that for Affiliate World Dubai, and
The wheels of time.
yeah,
continue to turn,
time is
so.
circular.
Awesome. Well, less about calendars and time. But again, travel really fantastic. Let's go to kind of another piece that I think would be a really good focus as we talk about planning here. Is I look at it and remember where I put my notes. Actually, I think one thing we want to talk about is we mentioned with events is affiliates, the affiliate landscape. What is it?
Yeah.
What is it like out there, and how's it going on? And kind of the type of affiliates, what they're looking for, so on and so forth. So I think we've definitely seen a lot of changes with affiliates, and some of that, listen, we know if you're a media buying affiliate or you're an email affiliate, all of you have seen some challenges in the way that you're running your business, right? We know with email, there's been a lot of challenges around deliverability, conversions, open rates. All the performance seems to be down, almost universal across the board.
CPMs are up, election spending's up.
Yep, CPMs
Spending seems to be down, depending on which economist and politician you ask. But
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of things. Yeah, there's economic concerns. There's a lot of shifting. The biggest thing I tell you is we are in a shifting environment.
Yeah.
And shifting environments, just think about like rocks in a cylinder, right? Pebbles in a cylinder. If you start shaking it, they're going to move, and some are going to fall all the way out.
the little ones. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, sometimes there might be big ones if enough
Yeah.
little ones fall too. But you're going to see movement. You're going to see change. And through that is opportunity for you to move where you'd like to go, while others just fall down to where they're forced to go. So I only bring that up when it talks about affiliates. I think this is a great time to have some opportunity with them. But why don't we talk a little about some of the challenges and how that might address or rethink
Yeah.
about
I think
things as an offer owner.
over the last couple of years, this is where my thinking has really, I don't know if evolved is the right term, but shifted. Just how people think about their affiliate program. Because, right, we talked to a lot of people who are like, I want a top 10 ClickBank offer or whatever it might be. I'm like, are you sure? And they kind of look at me and go, what do you mean?
Sure about that?
And it's like, well, it's like to compete at that level, you're kind of talking about a level of performance in your offer that has to be really maxed out. And you also are talking, you're honestly recruiting, even though you might have hundreds or thousands of affiliates at that band of revenue, you're probably talking about courting a small number of super affiliates. And people hear that and go, cool, I just want to work with super affiliates. It's like, well, yes and no. Like, yes, you want to work with super affiliates, but you might not be ready to work with those super affiliates. So you have to chat with everybody to even figure out if you can get those performance and stats up. But I guess to condense this monologue I'm going on, it's like to look at the affiliate landscape now, it's if your offer isn't proven on cold traffic, meaning paid traffic most of the time, then I wouldn't be trying to court paid traffic affiliates too much. I'd be learning how to do that internally myself or getting some traction with an agency on it. And that doesn't mean retargeting campaign 10 times over starts converting. It means day zero clicks start buying and what is the EPC on those and getting that EPC number up.
Yeah.
And then it's going, if that's not the case, then I might be looking at email traffic and email affiliates. Because the weird thing that's happened in the last couple of years is the supplement high ticket offers, like, well, they're not technically high ticket, right? But the $200 to $300 AOV paying out a high CPA offers have really shifted the focus for affiliates to I need high ticket, higher single bottle SKU VSL supplement funnels. And that's all everyone was really looking at. Now that seems to be shifting. We're going to talk about that, I think, in a sec.
Yep.
But there's still a band of affiliate and different bands of affiliates up to that top offer point that you can be recruiting and working with.
Yeah.
And it's figuring out, okay, where are they? How do I work with them? Which events do I need to go to meet them? What online groups should I be networking in? And putting on your affiliate recruitment hat. So all that's to say, it's like, I think people have gotten a little bit discouraged if they don't have that quote unquote top offer type. And like, where do I even go? But for what I've seen, there is plenty of room to build a multi-6, even low 7-figure offer purely on, say, email traffic, working with similar offers in that space who have different email size lists and different email list managers and kind of courting those people while you're building up to that quote-unquote top offer stat.
Yeah, no, I love that you said that because I think sometimes, too, it's just understanding, like, I was describing this the other day with a client, actually, when we were talking about top offers and super affiliates, and I kind of was describing it like, hey, one of the things to remember when you're at the top level, like that top level, it's a bit of an oligopoly. There's not that many top offers all at the same time, right? So there could be only so many. It's a fixed game at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So as soon as your performance starts to dip, the traffic it'll leave much faster than it took you to grow it and get it up there, right? It's just going to drop off. And you could be in a really tough position because now you have to optimize, you have to pay more, you have to be very, very aggressive, and you are competing against the best of the best in our industry when you're at that level. And that doesn't mean you can't get there, but I think setting it as a target sometimes misses a ton of opportunity because it's a very narrow target.
Yeah.
And if you set the goal as the bullseye every single time, you still might miss winning throughout the entire board. So for example, one thing I've seen, and we'll use media buying as a good example. We actually have a ton of media buying affiliates that wouldn't be qualified as super affiliates,
right?
But they could run a spend that's maybe $1,000 a day is what they're looking at, maybe per offer. Let's just put that as an example. So that's not a super affiliate, but what if I could prove out that my offer has great ROAS at $500 to $1,000 a day myself, or through an agency or whatever? I can now take that campaign, and what we find is sometimes low levels of spend you could do really, really well, but when you try and scale it, things don't transition the same way. You might not have the conversion rate high enough, whatever it is, but you can make this campaign work right here. Instead of being like, hey, I want to take this campaign to someone that's going to send me thousands of front-end sales a day, what if instead I take this campaign and just find affiliates at that same level of spend and get 20 of them? All of a sudden, I have what would look like $20,000 worth of spend, 20 affiliates successfully promoting an offer and happily doing so and managing that and creating, at that point, a very successful offer that's probably easier to manage and more profitable because you don't have to give them maybe like your entire business to run traffic to compete.
Well, what are the odds that one of those affiliates actually strikes gold and can scale much bigger, right? So you've increased your likelihood of that happening.
Exactly.
The other thing I really like about that example is early on, even if you got, say, $500,000 a day in spend going towards a funnel, that gives your ClickBank account manager, it gives ClickBank actual data to look at, to use to help court those other affiliates. It's very hard to get someone like, hey, this is a brand new offer. Do you want to test it? And it's like, or it's only done well on email. You want to test it? But if you can actually show that, hey, there's the stats on Facebook. This is day 0 clicks and sales. Like, here's the performance. Oh, okay, that actually backs out, and I could actually test that in some degree of confidence.
And if we use the example of like, okay, you don't have the testing, and you're trying to get someone to help you. It's a very different thing if you create a really great incentive and a direct relationship with I don't want to say a small affiliate, right? Like they might be a platinum affiliate still, but they might be running a more, they're not the super
We had
affiliate.
Alex in, right? And you know, his talk about him talking about how they are, you know, a top diamond, double diamond client here on ClickBank, and the way that he talks with all these small affiliates still, or quote unquote small affiliates, to help them get started, to help them get going, because it builds in his long tail pipeline, because they're going to grow with that brand.
Yeah. And so he's very smart with that. You could do the same thing, right? And it's incredibly impactful. So I just say, as we look at the shifting affiliate landscape, just look for different opportunities. We haven't even addressed, I think one other area is look for different types of affiliates. Maybe it's not a buyer, maybe it's not an emailer, maybe it's a blogger, maybe it's a podcaster, maybe it's an influencer.
It's a publisher with a solo drop you can do, right? Yeah, some native spots.
Tons of opportunities, but I think that this is a great time to look at what everyone thinks the expectation of affiliates are and look for a different path. Not to say you can't still go after a super affiliate, but like if you didn't do that last year, maybe instead of just trying to do the same thing again, like come up with a different strategy and a different pathway. So with that, I think this is a perfect time to transition to kind of the product side, and I'll let you kind of take it from there.
Well, I think, we alluded to it a little bit, but it's the shift we've seen over the last probably 2 years, but I think it's kind of spiked in the last, say, 6 months to 9 months.
Yeah, I think it hit full saturation at that point. Like,
and it's like this, and you've been saying this beforehand, I didn't really believe you. I was like, I don't know, man. But it's the fact that the multi-SKU supplement funnels have almost seemed to reach a saturation point, and now this like low-ticket phoenix is kind of rising again, where these low-ticket digital offers, possibly low-ticket non-digital, and kind of just info products in general are starting to have a heyday again and really scaling well. I'm curious, because you've had a number of your portfolio do this, and Kyle Meredith has as well. Like, we've seen all these people kind of scaling in different verticals. I'm curious on why you think that is, and also like what do these offers look like as we look at this like resurgence of info digital products again.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad I have a pillow because I might bore you during this period. So, but no, I definitely have some theories on it. And I think one thing that's, so I've talked about this, I don't think I've talked about this in podcasts, but we have a very weird economy right now. I actually tried to find parallels. And if anyone knows of one out there, please tell me, where I could find pockets. We actually have like a very duplicitous economy. So right now we see a lot of markers in the economy outside the recent changes in the Fed with interest rates, but we won't go into that. But there's a lot of markers that show positivity in the economy that could say, hey, we're not in a recession, which we aren't, and things are really good. Don't be too worried or concerned. But at the same time, we have a ton of red flags that indicate that we are in a severe recession in terms of consumer trends. Credit. We have defaults are increasing, whether a credit card debt's super high. Repos. We're seeing now foreclosures are starting to come up. And in general, we're also seeing unemployment start to come up. We found out that a bunch of employment numbers were falsified and not even real. It was like 200,000 jobs that were stated that were in the economy that weren't. So when they updated like 3/4 of job reports for this year. So again, we're not going to get into the conspiracy of that, but just that happened. So there's a lot of these negative factors. And so my belief is we won't go too into the details behind it, but essentially we have a portion of the economy that's been shrinking that still feels like things are going great for them. And they aren't seeing a weakened, some weakened purchasing power, but at the end of the day, they're still able to buy larger quantities of supplements, and they're still in that market. They're fine. Nothing's changed for them. But there's a growing population of people that their lives have substantially changed. They are most likely in a bad debt situation. They're probably seeing a reduction in their cash, and now their job's at threat as well. And a couple things to note. Millennials are one of the largest impacted, I guess, subsegments. And
Cool.
one of the other areas where you're seeing is jobs that pay over $200K a year currently are the hardest jobs to place. They are getting thousands of applicants for those jobs, and there's very few of them. So your likelihood of getting that job or replacing it if you lose your job and that income band is incredibly low. So that's just to put a lot of like low confidence, low concerns, and we're seeing a change in buyer behavior. And we've seen it because starting from 2022 to 2023, we saw a 30% reduction in platinum supplement sales year over year, just down in conversions. So that trend continued even more severely into 2024, and I think that's where a lot of people have been experiencing this. The unfortunate thing is the response was increase the CPA and increase the AOV. And Thomas, if you run into an offer with low conversions and really high AOV, what do you tell that person? Okay, sorry. I'll answer my own question. That tends to indicate that you have too narrow of a market and you're only going after hyperactive buyers.
Gotcha, yeah.
So you're getting great conversions when you find those people, but there's not enough of them, right?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, when we go into these lower ticket digital offers, they still could provide great value. And this is actually where technology and AI has changed the game from digital 6 years ago, because it was like an ebook, right?
Yeah.
But now you could create really beautiful courses, videos, really nice books, like things that are very, very high quality in the back end, as well as having good customer support. And it allows you to still give mass value at a much lower price point.
Yeah.
And so
I'd love to talk a little bit like the types of offers we're seeing.
Yes.
I think the OG audience that listens here is going to have one thing in mind, like you just mentioned, like ebooks. Got it. But that's not quite what we mean.
Yeah.
And then other people are like, well, what do you mean by a digital info product? Like, what does this look like? What's the price point? So like, what do you, I guess one thing I've seen scaling over the last couple of years has been like the astrology, spirituality niche. And this is a little unique because they scale a little differently in my opinion than I think some of the other niches we're going to talk about. And what I see there is it's almost even a lower ticket, right? I think when we talk about low ticket, what price do you think when you say low ticket?
47 below, and
So
especially manifestation,
products.
You might get down to 7.
Yeah, I was gonna say manifestation, spirituality, astrology. Yeah, it's like, to me, it's like $7 to $27 front end. Like,
Yep.
And then what I don't see as often in that niche specifically is say a lot of external media buyers jumping on those at high volume. What I see more is internal traffic getting clicked on, and either it's a media buyer that's made an offer that does really well and they can scale it, or it's someone who's learned media buying with their own spirituality offer that can start scaling it. And then they might bring in some media buyers that can branch out into different channels that they're not in. And then a bunch of more email affiliates pile on top of it.
Yeah.
So it's like, but they can get it going with their own media buying because the conversion rates are high, the cost of purchase is lower, and then they have the ascension path from there for their different products they're selling or being an affiliate themselves.
And one other thing you didn't mention too that is really impactful is compliance is substantially easier.
Yeah.
In the manifestation world and spirituality world, because we're talking about nothing. Yeah. At the end of the day, like all of this is intangible.
A lot of white women just got really upset.
Yeah. Well, but I should say it's from a regulatory standpoint, right?
Yeah.
If you believe in something, that it'll do something, but it's all based off it's not, you don't base it on science, you base it off belief.
Yeah.
You could sell belief all day long, right?
Yeah, the claims are a lot murkier, right? It's like,
So, like if I tell you that I'm going to provide you this, if you listen to these, if you go through this sequence, or I'm going to do a reading to tell your life to a certain point, as long as you don't get too specific, it's vague enough. It's your belief that we're selling.
Yeah.
If you believe in it, then you're going to be happy about it. So this is another thing. So going under your price points, I think some things are curious about that. Like I think compliance is easy. You're right. We see a lot of people that run it internally because I think digital offers are a lot easier to spin up quickly and change angles, right? So you might start with a text sales letter, or especially in manifestation, I just need you to get a reading. I
think we're kind of talking to this directly though. I just want to call it out. Like if you're someone who's, maybe you're an affiliate, and you're like, I've always thought about making my own offer.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people go straight to how to make a top ClickBank offer. I'd almost start in this realm, right? You're going to make a lower ticket digital offer in some capacity. The other one might be the hobbyist space, like the Ted's Woodworking, or the ones that overlap, like a hobby and a biz op kind of thing.
Yeah.
And like something that's
another one that used to be a big one on our platform in the past, dating.
Yeah.
Dating is incredible.
I've seen more of those coming across like our biz dev team, right? There's been more of those kind of starting to trickle through that are you're kind of seeing this like, oh, okay, this can work again. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of value. I think I said this on the podcast before, but we live in an environment where truth is everything is real everywhere. We know all the information, but it means we know nothing, right? So info products now become very valuable because I'm not looking for structured pinnacles of information to get what I need. I'm just looking for something I connect with through the internet, right? So that's where I think the other reason where we've seen the rise of conversions on these types of offers. I had a whole nother thing about it. I won't go into the big diatribe about why I think Manifestation's uniquely positioned for right now. But anyway, so they're easy to write up. They're easier from a compliance standpoint. I also think you learn a lot because if you could sell an intangible belief-based product, when you put a real product behind it and you learn how to write copy, you're like, holy crap, like this is way easier now. But it also is less competitive. There's less people in that market, and it's a pretty large market as well in terms of the actual audience that consumes these products, particularly because there's a range. One other thing I'm going to put in there is a range of success and what you could charge and what's valuable. Readings that are sent to you, like your horoscopes and things like that, that's your lowest level, so lowest price point. If you get something tailored and the closer it simulates like a real in-person reading, you could increase the price from there. The ultimate would be sitting on a video or in person with somebody giving your reading. Now, this is my last little plug here. AI could make this very, very exciting if you know how to use AI as a mirror and let it engage with the consumer to feel like they're getting a reading and a belief and value. It could really unlock a lot of this stuff, which is the other reason why I think it's become a very exciting vertical, because now previously it was really hard to build the products that converted. Technically, like one of our biggest ones was numerology. Right? Yeah. It took Blair 3 years to develop that. Yeah. I mean, that's wild. Now, it's worked for like 10 years, but that's really,
it's still very polished, right? Yeah. It's like still more polished than most of like the things we see that try to replicate it.
But you could probably replicate his funnel with AI in not 3 years, probably not even 3 months. It would take you. So, Blair said this, so he's
exactly. So he's diving into the AI part.
Exactly. So, but I just say that it really opens up a lot of opportunities. But there's a lot more as well in the digital space also. I think
you've been killing it with your portfolio. Yeah. What's been going on there?
We talk a lot about economic stuff, BizOp and making money online. Like this is the season for it. We talked about this in 2008 when we had the last large economic impact in our country. ClickBank actually ended up having a record year in 2009 when everyone else was not having that kind of record year. And it was all through primarily BizOp. So when the economy goes down and you see financial stressors like credit defaults going up, credit card debt going up with high interest rates to begin with, and potential of inflation increasing more as well. For those to understand, if you lower interest rates and you lower them too severely at the Fed level, that could increase the likelihood of inflation that's already hurt a lot of people's purchasing power, could hurt it more. We talked about the economic climate. You're most likely at high risk of losing your job, but you're also in a situation where you won't be able to replace the income and that you had with your past job, right? All signs that BizOp is going to make a lot of money. I'll give one other addition to this. I talked with, this isn't a brand that we work with, but I know someone that was in, they were in, was it credit repair? Yeah, it was credit repair. They are spending more than they ever have before. I think they said they were spending 7 figures a day on Facebook because it's converting so well.
That's crazy.
Again, we are in BizOp season. So whether it's low ticket, high ticket, both are actually converting, but we'll focus on the low ticket digital. These do very, very well. I could tell you kind of the numbers you want to be at. It's around 2.5% to 3% conversions, and you have to be able to pay out affiliates about $55. And there's a magic ROAS that could occur at those numbers that we tend to see that traction.
55 is lower than I thought it would be, but I bet a 2 to 3% convert, that makes sense.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the interesting things that we hear, like, oh, well, you want a $120, $150 CPA, but you're only getting a 0.87 or lower conversion.
Yeah.
Right. So that's substantially different.
Well, and this going back to like the affiliate landscape a little bit. The affiliates are feeling the same squeeze that the sellers are, right? They're feeling the squeeze on the CPMs coming up, the return on ad spend is getting worse. So these affiliates that used to turn their nose up, to be frank, at some of these digital offers are going, okay, I'll test it. Because it's something that they're kind of scrambling, going, every blood sugar offer I've ran this last 6 months has done meh.
Yeah.
Okay, let me try something different that I haven't done before. And now they're starting to see success in those cases.
Yeah.
So I do want to clarify, because a lot of like the the affiliates that are running the offers that you've been managing on the BizOps side, those affiliates came from the multi-SKU supplement funnels.
Yep.
Where that's all they'd run, and now they're putting a ton of traffic at these lower ticket BizOps funnels.
Yep. It was a slog, but I convinced somebody, and it went very well for them. Yeah. And so now there's more and more. But yeah, I'd say again, the other thing too is it's easier to run a lot of these offers, because I think that we hear often people feel like Nutra is just not working on tier 1 social. But these other ones, they're very clickable. They get a lot more activity. The ads they don't have to necessarily be super aggressive on info sometimes, new markets. So it makes your campaigns last longer.
Yeah, I do want to call it too, because I think the supplement Nutra offers is still doing great. Like there's a lot of, like if you look at the top marketplace, the top offers videos we put out, most of those offers are still supplements. They still command a lot of the market. Like they haven't gone away by any means. I think what we're just seeing is this, like it's getting harder to come into that space and build those offers out and maintain them. And we're seeing this digital info product space starting to eat up more of that market share, more of the eyeballs from these media buyers.
Yeah. Again, the thing about it is it's a shrinking target.
Yeah.
So the people that are the most precise and most skilled are still going to do well, but you're competing in one of the hardest markets with some of the best marketers in the world with a shrinking target. It's just harder, right? So
it's more red ocean now than blue ocean.
Yeah, right? Yeah. I'm a big fan of, someone called it green ocean. I'm just a big fan of chasing easy money. Where does it seem like the money's easy? Blue oceans could be easy if you figure it out. But I think it was Drew Kosoff. Yeah, he called it a green ocean, where it's not like you have to figure something out. It's just no one's paying attention to it yet.
Yeah.
And so that's where we really see the BizOp manifestation. And then the other one I'll add, like hobbyist, DIY, whatever it is, that kind of course teach you something. The one caveat I'll say with those, you have to be careful, because if you teach something too specific, it's not broad enough to be appealing for affiliates or scale. But then the last one too is I think low ticket health.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because that on my list to say, because on that topic, low ticket never went away.
It didn't.
Right? We've seen Emily Lark's offers, Alex Miller's offers, right? Ted's Woodworking, all these different kinds of products, 8-figure offers year over year, steady Eddie.
Yeah.
It's like they crush it
for decades.
When I look at businesses, I was like, I want that business.
Yeah.
Instead of like this multi 6-figure, 7-figure a day supplement funnel, like those look stressful as hell to manage versus these consistent 5-figure a day kind of earners. So those offers have done well through this whole time period we're talking about. And they're getting even more traction now as they kind of get more eyeballs back on them from some of these affiliates going, okay, the $150 CPA can't get to $180 CPA, can't get to $200 CPA. I need something different. Let me test something different. Yeah.
Well, and one of the other cool things is to get people to buy almost $300 of supplements, you have to have a very specific way to market to them.
Yeah.
It's very narrow in how to get that done. To get low ticket digital or low ticket anything, you got to open up your marketing playbook, right? So quiz funnels are something we're seeing doing very well with some lower ticket stuff. That could open you up to a lot of different things, which gets a lot of leads. It gets really good engagement. You might not have to write the lead, as a copy. Yeah, you get to collect that lead, and so now your list building grows.
Buyers didn't touch collecting the lead because it would hurt conversions. But if conversion rate's 3%, you can probably drop to a 2.2% conversion rate while you're collecting the lead.
Yeah,
and then make more money on the lead list too.
So plus, like people love filling out that stuff. Yeah. And again, we talk about AI. Here's my quick AI quiz idea. Take AI and tell it, hey, I want you to convince somebody of XYZ thing, whatever it is. We'll convince them to do this. And I want you to ask a certain amount of questions that'll frame them to this state. Tell me what those questions are.
Yeah.
And then give me a multiple choice version of it, right? Make it do it. And you also have to then feed it the profile of who you want and who that individual is. But we have to remember what AI does very, very well is a fantastic mirror. Have a conversation with it. Have it manipulate you or your target market, and it'll spit out some really cool stuff for you. But now you get to be a little bit more creative in the way you're looking at stuff. You could test faster more often. And I think, again, lower ticket health offers are now going after what I think is a very large growing market. Yeah. People are not getting that much healthier, guys. They still need all the products that we sell. So by them not buying them doesn't mean the need went away. It just means the price point and where the demand is shifted. At least that's my belief. No. And we could see it in those offers. Like, and for example, if anybody wants to, they feel like, no, I don't believe it. Try it. You could test Alex Miller's offer. It's on the platform. Go run some traffic to it.
There's honestly some sleeper offers out there that deserve more traction than they get because they have just kind of run under the scenes to email traffic only. But I'm thinking of one that's a pull-up offer. The idea is MIC pull-ups, like MC pull-ups if you search in the marketplace. It's about how to do better pull-ups.
Yeah.
Right? Hyper-specific thing, does well to the core audience, and it could do well on cold traffic based on the performance I see over there. But just think little things like that. You can go find these sleeper offers that could do really well just because they're not like a super high gravity or rank or something.
Yeah.
And go start testing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with that, again, I think that the opportunities are endless there. But again, try it, right? Go out and put in there and just realize that as things are shifting, those that understand the new targets are the ones that'll win, right? So as you're going to your planning and looking at these different products, maybe it's time to go low ticket. The last thing we'll say, though, that it's not all low ticket. Maybe you're doing great on the front end, but in a rising cost environment, you need to increase your margins.
Well, yeah, to be clear, you're making $0 on the front of it.
Yes. You're not expecting much margin there. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a pure customer acquisition play like it always is. But yeah, you need a way to send or cross-sell.
Yeah. And so with that, and this is actually something where if your business, maybe you've just seen stagnant growth, but you're still acquiring. It's just like you can't get it to go up to the next level. And sometimes that's just really hard. Sometimes it's just not, it's the product, not you. That's one thing too. Like, hey, I might just not have a product that's going to be appealing at the next level. So what do I need to do now? Just squeeze more juice out of the orange. And one thing we're seeing a lot of is high ticket back end courses, whether it's coaching, whether it's, like a high ticket course, and we're talking 10 to 25K, normally some sort of like one-on-one style coaching.
I'd say you can come down from there too. Right. I think like that 4K, like there's really no, to me, if you're going straight to book a call, I think you have to go to that 10K kind of price point. If you're going like upsell from, let's say a $90 AOV or something, going to that 4-figure price point could do really well too. And then you have additional ascension paths from there.
For sure. Yeah. But the idea of just having like something higher ticket, which I'll tell you, like sometimes you're like, well, what would that even be? I don't want to do that. There's partners out there that you could work with who'll do all that for you. We've had Chad Thackett on an episode talk specifically about that. So there's options out there, but that is an incredibly lucrative way to just extract more money. And then the last thing I'd put on here, just to always look towards, is I've said it before, I'll say it again. Don't make your customers have to be like purchase from you next. Just be a part of their next purchase, right? So you don't have to be the solution for everything, but be a part of that solution. So whether it's new partnerships, whether it's, hey, we're going to build something in our auto response sequence, we're going to put a new upsell in here, we're going to find high ticket somewhere else with a partner
that we can
bring it in.
I think what people don't realize sometimes is that you could be like a CPL affiliate, a cost per lead affiliate, to these higher ticket webinars or to these higher ticket phone closes. And actually do really well getting paid for the lead, not necessarily, or as well as the rev share from those mid to high ticket kind of things. And that helps you, especially if you're using something like Maripost Contact Pass, where you can actually tell what your customers are buying through your affiliate link on ClickBank. You're like, oh, cool. Okay. My customers are really resonating with these products that I'm promoting as an affiliate. That gives me an aha of what I could be building into my own ascension path. And kind of keep building that out. So you can start playing in the mid to high ticket space much faster than you realize by being the affiliate. Even if you're not like, oh, my customers came in on low ticket, I can only promote low ticket. That's not necessarily the case.
Exactly. Because all low ticket truly is, guys, it's just sometimes it's just a testing thing. I might have the money, but I'm more sensitive to how I want to spend it. So can I find a lower entry point to try? So again, and that's not even to say that, hey, maybe it's trials, maybe whatever. It's just this idea of lowering that price point opens up the marketing options for you and addresses what I think is a growing market. So with that, guys, we're kind of finishing up here. I know we're getting close to an hour, and we have these pillows, so I'm getting a little bit sleepy. I'm ready for a siesta. So with that, though, please rate, review, subscribe, do all the things. I think the bigger thing, too, is please send us messages of other things you'd ever like us to pillow talk on. Or even more exciting, would really make me super excited, is if you emailed and sent us to affiliated@clickbank.com what your planning thing is going to be for this year. What's the big jump, whether it's going to an event, whether it's a new product. We want to know what your planning is. And I'll tell you what, next Pillow Talk, if we get a good one, we'll be happy to share it on our Pillow Talk episode.
Yeah.
So perfect. Well, with that, Thomas, anything else to say to the people before we say your awesome tagline that we love so much?
One thing we didn't mention, I will mention real fast, is our team internally here is working really hard to get our platinum clients onto the new order form.
Yes.
So they're transferring a ton of products or a ton of the old order form, quote unquote, to the new order form format. So if you're a platinum client, expect to see that coming through from your account manager. They're making a big push to do it. And
I'll even say just on that, just had a client, talked with him last night. He did that recent transition and built some even new order forms. Massive difference, huge conversion. It got a nice conversion lift. It was
the way the WYSIWYG. I did a video with Ashley here that kind of breaks down how to, how she walked us through what you can do with a new order form, and it's just like, this is great. Finally, you can dive in. You don't have to use CSS coding, but you can if you like to make this as robust as you want to, and you can split test a lot faster out of it. So
and it loads faster, guys. At the end of the day, new order form just loads faster. So speed counts for money more than anything else on the internet. So get better load times, better conversions.
So we're going to 2025. We should see majority of traffic hitting new ClickBank order forms, and then y'all who are platinum clients can start testing those and optimizing against those, and just doing a lot better with those order forms.
For sure.
So we should see an incremental lift across the whole platform, which is a lot more money for everybody.
Yep.
Huzzah.
Exactly. Easy money too, guys.
Yeah.
Click
Easy
a
money.
button. Awesome. Well, anything else for the people for planning outside the new order form?
No, I'm stoked to see a lot of our friends over at Platinum Summit here in a few weeks. So, and then I'll be at 4 Rooms Mastermind in Orlando for that November one. So excited to kind of get back on the road and see everybody again.
I have to just go with you, and then we could go to Disney World together. We could do a Pillow Talk episode. The Epcot Center. That'd be great.
I like it.
Well, with that, what do we tell the people, Thomas?
Happy scaling.
Happy scaling. Until next time, get your pillows snuggle tight and be safe out there. This running thing.